preference. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. There are tons of people in the chat. Richard is like always an hour early, so always Richard, and Richard moderates for me. And Richard gave me Betty Boop, who's back there, but I'm cutting her head off tonight.
Betty doesn't have a head.
No, not tonight. You can't even, I could turn it the other way where you could see, but if I could sit on my desk. I haven't figured out the shed yet.
It's good though.
Yeah, it's coming along, and I just 2 seconds before I came into StreamYard, Tina, you're sideways.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I don't know what my phone did.
It's okay. I did not like a ton.
I'm sure it's operator error.
Look at Tim. Tim is in the house over the years. I love Tim. Tim's calling for George.
Hey,
Tim, I loved Glass before Tim, but I think Tim kind of kicked me into a little higher gear on Glass. So we can blame it on Tim. And Tim has been around my channel for a long time. And Tim does great with Glass. If you guys don't know, Tim is amazing. I love Tim. So I have Julian back, guys. He is not sick anymore after 2 weeks. He has been sick. So yay for Julian. Yeah. Nobody harmed him like people were insinuating.
No.
They didn't put him in a box. And
no.
We have George, which I will let George go big. And Tina, it's up to you. You guys, Tina does not have a YouTube channel, but she does have an Instagram. So I actually linked her Instagram below, and she shares some great stuff. So Tina, it is up to you if you want me to make you full screen or not. I will definitely let Julian and George go. And we've already got 70 in the chat. So thank you guys for coming in. And if you're watching or listening afterwards, thank you as well. So I will make George big first, then we'll do Julian, and then Tina, you can let me know if you want me to.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm huge. Well, hey, everybody. I'm George. I'm the Antique Nomad. I see a bunch of people I recognize in the chat, and it's really good to see you again. And I will do a special little shout for Tim at Over the Years, because I was just editing one of my next 2 videos. I actually mentioned you because I found something that you had in one of your videos that I thought was really awesome. And I didn't get to buy it from you, and I didn't get to buy it when I saw it again. So anyway, sadness. But anyhow, I have a YouTube channel, and I do other social media, and I've been in the antique and vintage part of this business for, gosh, a long time. And I travel all over the place and buy and sell, some online, a lot in the real world too. And so I like to show off my adventures, and that's what my channel's about.
Yay. All right, Julian, go.
I just want to tell everybody, thank you if you did reach out to me on Instagram, YouTube, or any other social media to say, I hope I feel better. Thank you for all those thoughts and prayers, because it did work. It did take me a while back, but if you're new, I am Julian. I'm also the Bearded Thrift Machine. I have a YouTube. I do like what sold videos a lot and haul videos and everything else. And I've been Kat's co-host for a while, and I'm a full-time seller, and I've been that way for about 1.5 years now, going on about actually maybe a little bit more. So, but I do appreciate everybody's kind words and everybody coming out tonight, and hit that thumbs up, and thank you to the guests.
Tina, do you want to go big and introduce yourself, or are you good? You want to go big?
Sure.
Okay, she said go big or go home. There you go.
Go big or go home. Hi, everybody. I'm Tina, and I'm known as Berrypoppintags, and I'm here in Hartselle, Alabama. And I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but I do sell on eBay. I've been selling for about 1 year. And my cat is trying to get in the video. This is my very first. This is my very first.
Okay.
Come here, kitty. This is my very first.
Okay. It's fine.
Say hi. And I want to tell everybody that it's operator error. I can't chat, but I can see everybody on the screen here, so I'll comment later.
That works. If you,
so
I have to have my computer is to the left of me, so I cheat. I do stream with my phone, but I cannot chat with my phone.
I can't.
So it's okay. But I will pop the questions up on there as well. Somebody else was just saying they are from Alabama too. Who said that? Oh, Sandy said she's in Elkmont, Alabama.
Oh, hi. Yay.
So
awesome.
I'm gonna grill George, and I don't normally grill, if you guys know. We will get to chatting, but because I grilled Jocelyn and Misty, I'm just starting to go to antique malls. I've only been twice. And so I want to ask your tips as far as from the reselling, from your videos since I've been watching. It seems like you pay up a lot more like than I'm used to paying up. Is that true? And they were saying like you kind of learn which booths are like the lower priced booths where you can go to those again and again for inventory.
It is true that you might pay more in an antique mall because it's already been juried a little bit. Somebody thought it was special enough or old enough or had something going for it to put it in there. So they at least think they know something. And so there's certain tricks that I use when I go to antique malls. I look for spaces that are having sales. People do retire. People move. They have reasons to get out of the business. I look for sometimes I look for the booth that's really kind of neglected and disheveled, because a lot of times people have just walked by and ignored it for a long time, and the stuff's been there a long time. So the price might be an old school price. Sometimes that can be old school high, and sometimes that can be old school low. So there's definitely that to it. I like thrifting and that sort of thing if I can go to a place where I feel like I'm really likely to find stuff. And in some parts of the country, the thrifting is great. Currently, I'm in Western Kentucky. The thrifting is not great here. And so if I had to rely on thrift stores, I'd be in real trouble. And so I go to auctions in this area too. There are some places that we get inexpensive merchandise. I also sell a lot on consignment. And so I don't pay for this stuff. I have a contract and I'm responsible to take care and sell it, but I'm actually selling for someone else and then I get a percentage. So that's one way that you can get some better merchandise without having to put all of your money into it. If you're willing to deal with the paperwork. So there's a lot of different ways that merchandise comes, but yeah, antique malls. I'm actually going to do a video. I've got a couple videos coming from Florida, just down the road from you in St. Pete, from a mall that is very high end, but I show how I look in showcases. And there's another one on how I pick at a high end antique mall, because it's surprising you can find deals in there, but they might not be 50-cent deals.
Right. And I'm okay paying up, and on high bid, I pay up, but I can sit behind a computer and I can research it, where unfortunately most, like the couple of antique malls I went to, I didn't have a signal almost the whole time. So playing off my own knowledge and paying up was kind of scary for me.
Yes.
Because I couldn't do that research. So I'm like, oh, do I do this?
Yeah, that makes it a little bit tougher. And I've noticed, especially in Florida, a lot of the cinder block buildings have metal roofs. And when you get in the back, you cannot get reception. And I've actually had stuff put up at the front counter and then said, do you mind if I step outside for a minute? And they always know what I'm doing. They're like, oh yeah, your phone will work out there.
Just go look. That's what I thought of too, like taking pictures of like the booths where I could remember where it was at, and then go out and kind of research it. So Sandy's saying she had an antique booth and price for resellers, and I know Jocelyn said she knows some that, like, as long as they double or triple their money, they're not out to like get retail. So I am hoping, well, right now I don't need to buy any. Your consignment, do you do that on eBay, or do you just do it at like your booths and shows?
I do all of those things. I put some consignment items on eBay to sell if I think that's the best place. I just sold a set of sterling flatware for $1,100 on eBay this last week. It was my big sale for the week, and it just was the right place for it to go. I knew that we'd get the price, and that was the place for it. And, you know, it's always a little bit of strategy when you're selling in different venues, which thing goes where first, because you don't necessarily want to put all your stale stuff on eBay that you haven't been able to sell, but sometimes you have something really good that requires that big market because it's just not collectible where you are, but someone in another part of the country or another part of the world loves it. So yeah. eBay is awesome, but you know, certain things do better if people can pick them up and touch them and feel them too. So it's always the guessing game.
Yeah. And everybody asked me that because I can't get a booth, but both of the malls within an hour of me have over 50 people on the wait list, and that's just not an option. And my flea market, I am in the country part of Florida. We are very country, very rural where I'm at, and I would not get, unless I took like all of my stuff that I typically give away and did like $1 each. I don't feel that I would sell very much.
That's what I do with flea markets too. When I sell, I love shopping at them. I actually like a flea market to shop at better than almost anything, because there's just a lot of variety and people have different interests and stuff. But yeah, for me, the flea market is my outlet. It's the dumping ground. It's not the place I sell to make profit. It's the place I sell to get rid of stuff so I can get rid of my mistakes.
Jack Treasure sent a super chat. It says, longtime viewer, seldom makes lives. Want to throw love your way because you bring us a lot of entertainment on the road. Aww. Jack, I appreciate that. I'm going to give you a dolphin. Super chat. That dolphin's kind of loud in the shed where it's quiet. I just noticed it, and I've been using it for a while.
I love the dolphin.
It's so fun. Yeah, I love the dolphin too. I love dolphins, period. I'm like an ocean kind of person. So, Tommy, this is because of Tim, mind you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know why Tommy is fancy. So, Tina and George, do you believe in dinosaurs?
I'm going to let Tina go first.
It's such a funny question.
You're going to let me go first. Sure. Yeah.
I think dinosaurs existed.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Tim, they do exist because I have a whole bunch right here. Look at that one.
Yeah.
Where's he at? There he is.
I went to the dinosaur monument in Utah when I was going between Salt Lake and Denver once. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, but I don't think they made that stuff up. I saw the fossils laying in the thing. On the other hand, I heard recently that in the last 10 or 15 years, thanks to computer modeling, that they have figured out that some of the bones that they put together, like T-Rex, that, some of the classic things that we are, that's a dinosaur. The computer modeling shows that there's like 100 different ways they could have assembled the bones, and that the shapes and things that we think of as dinosaurs might be completely wrong.
That's
right, that we didn't put the pieces together correctly.
Definitely don't look like they do in the movies, I'm sure.
No.
we're not gonna know. So Tina, how many items are you up to? Just so people know, like, where are you at, like, eBay wise?
I have about 1,200 listings.
Okay.
Right now. 1,200. Try to stay around that number. I'm trying to get up to 1,500, but it's been a battle.
It's hard. I'm down 150.
It's really hard.
And I probably will not make a video on this because I don't think it is exciting, but I just bought 1,000 DVDs 5 minutes before we came live.
Wow.
So, well, wow. Brad, my husband, if you guys know, I hope he's not watching. He normally doesn't watch. But he doesn't like to list like my glass and antiques because he doesn't know what to call them. But he's very efficient at listing on eBay. So I was like, if I buy 1,000 DVDs, would you list them? And he said he would. Hey, Dana. Oh my gosh, and he's behind me, guys. Yes, you can get your tools, but I'm going to turn my cam off because, I don't know if they'll see the top of you. Here, I'll turn it down. Okay, go ahead. He's not wearing a shirt. That was too weird of timing, guys.
Hey, Brad.
Hi, Brad.
What are you doing with your tools? Oh, his tools are in the shed because we've been working in the shed. Oh, here, Danny has a question for George. Have you ever found anything good at the antique stores around Mammoth Cave area?
Yes, I love the stores in Cave City, and I'm actually going to try to get there next week. I'm doing a show up in Burlington, up by Cincinnati, and I'm going to try to swing through Cave City on the way because I haven't been there in a long time. And I actually discovered it the first time I came to Kentucky, which was like 25 years ago. And yeah, they're still there. A lot of the same people are still selling there. So it must be a good place to sell. Anywhere where there's tourists tend to be good places because you get a lot of action. That's why Florida is so good.
That makes sense. And I want to, and I'm sure Brad says bye.
Bye, Brad.
Now I can put my camera back. Maybe now it doesn't want to go back up. So I know Julian wants to, I got to go the opposite way. Julian wants to travel, and I know several other resellers who do. So how do you handle, do you have a delayed shipping time, or is your stuff always with you? How do you do that with all your traveling?
Well, you can definitely do delayed shipping time. I have standard things that I have on eBay all the time. I have about 250 listings, and they're all books and baseball cards. And that's my stock thing because I have a friend who helps me with that. And he helps me with some of the listings and stuff too. But we're on opposite sides of the country right now. And so there's a little bit of finesse to that too. So we kind of communicate about who's got what and when we can get it out. Truthfully, if I know I'm going to be traveling, I try to only list little things that I can bring with me and easily ship and deal with. Paper ephemera, little flat stuff that fits in a little box. And I try to take off, if I'm going to be gone for a long time, I try to take off anything that's big and heavy and dimensional. Because honestly, usually when I'm traveling, I'm going to be doing a show somewhere. And so that merchandise is going to be out for sale. And then if I have to end a listing because I sold it at a show, that's awkward. And you can get bidders mad, and it's just not worth it. So I take the easy stuff and I segregate it from my show stock. Okay.
And the cards and books, your friend can help you to ship them?
Yeah.
They're easy?
They're easy because they're easy to find. Plus, I can send him a box media mail if it's books and it's cheap. And that way he can control the shipping and the listing and everything when it suits him. He's an editor and he stays home all the time and is on the computer constantly. And so, I help him out with things that are remote, and he helps me with the stuff that's stable in one place.
Makes sense. Monique is saying any tips, and I know this is broad. This is a very, very broad question, Monique. I would say listing regularly every day. If you want sales, you need to be active, at least on eBay. And I want to say this because in my members only live, I had 2 people that were below standard. And I want to tell you guys, know where your inventory is. And if you're not going to remember, you need to put it in bins. You need to mark it. If you are canceling, these 2 people had canceled too many orders. They were below standard. They were not getting sales. I'm not going to call anyone out, but I would like to prevent this from happening to others. If you get overwhelmed and can't find stuff and you cancel too many times, eBay pushes your listings to the very, very bottom. And then you're not going to get sales. It doesn't matter how many you list because they feel that you're not going to follow through regularly and they're not going to push your stuff to buyers. So make sure you know where your stuff is at, label it. And I was talking to somebody about this today. You might only have 200 items now, but if you intend on growing, I would mark them now because I have stuff that I listed 2 years ago when I didn't know I'd have 2,500 listings that back then I knew where everything was, but now I do not. So I would say that. 2 of my favorite channels have just come into the chat, so I'm going to highlight both of them. Roy and Kim Arcade Treasure Center, one of my favorite channels. If you guys don't know those 2, they are amazing. And then one of my, I learn a lot of stuff from this guy. This is Cam from Flashback Finds. And I've picked up very expensive book sets after watching Cam. And that's another tip. If you watch what's sold and like with George and more of the antique, they'll show you the finds and the stuff that's good. You have to develop an eye to know what's selling. So when you go out to the thrift store or the flea market or garage sales, you'll kind of have an idea of what is selling. So you have to educate yourself and learn and learn and learn. What other tips do you guys have if they're really new?
Well, let me ask Julian a question, because this might lead to a tip. I noticed that I was watching your last video, and you seem like you had 3 or 4 categories that are kind of go-tos for you. I know you sell lots of other stuff too, but do you find that having a few categories where you're kind of picking up the same stuff all the time, do you get more repeat buyers and develop a market that way, or is eBay just so random that it doesn't matter?
I've just now noticed, it's funny you say that. I've just now noticed that I've had repeat buyers on tools, golf clubs, and fishing gear. And it's all, I know a guy in like Idaho or somewhere out there. Like if I get a certain fishing gear, I message him and he will actually then usually buy, because my prices are pretty decent because I pick stuff up for cheap. So it's, I would say yes. And I'm gravitating in the beginning. I did like a lot of clothing and stuff. I'm not really big into clothing. I'm just not one, but it was easy to do and get started in. But now I am really gravitating towards like outdoor gear would be definitely where I go, and tools. So I would say do what you know first. Like I knew tools, so that's how I started. And I try to get into clothing. And number one, I don't like selling it. So and I don't like listing it. I don't like shipping it. I don't like anything about it. But definitely do stuff that you really like. Because if I could, I would definitely own like a golf tackle shop that also does tools. That's what I would. But I would say, yeah, I've had some repeat buyers that now have been buying certain things from me like pretty regularly.
Tina, what about you?
Well, yeah, I feel the same way as Julian does. Sorry, I'm stumbling here. You caught me. My favorite thing to sell is vinyl. That's one of my favorites. So I'm really, I've probably still got about 500 albums to list.
Man.
Right now.
So you sell the vinyl that you show on Instagram? Because I was wondering if that was your collection or if that was stuff for sale.
I do sell the vinyl, and those particular ones that I'm not going to say that all of those are in stock right now. So just a disclaimer, but I do have a lot of vinyl, and it's just all genres. But I believe it or not, I'm selling a lot of orchestra music.
Really?
Yes. And most of it's going to California.
Huh.
So,
California loves to buy from me too.
I'm telling you, a lot of stuff's going to California. So,
well,
and it's funny, some of my California friends say their stuff comes over to the East Coast.
Really?
And I'm like, I feel like we're finding stuff that they can't find, and vice versa, because we're not finding a lot of similar stuff.
I think that's absolutely true. People say, well, why do you travel around so much? Wouldn't it be easier to be in one place and ship things? And it is. And I like that. And there's a season for that too. But part of the reason for traveling around is you do find different stuff in different places. And a lot of it is misplaced. I was in Micanopy, which isn't too far from UCAT.
That's a beautiful little historic town.
Oh, it's so great. And I just did a video from there and I wanted to move there. But when I was in Micanopy, I found 4 Seattle World's Fair plates, because people went to the fair and then they went back home, and well, I can double my price by sending them back to Seattle, and I'll put them in a booth. I've got booths out there. So, there is something to be said for finding the thing that doesn't belong where you are. eBay is great because you can find that customer where they are.
Right. And if you're shipping international, you've got a global market. I love pottery, but I don't find much of it here. So I eat up almost everything I find if it's at a good price, and I'm trying to learn more about that. Caroline wants to know if you sell dishes like china place settings, do you wash them first?
I would.
I wash everything.
She does.
That's totally opposite from you, Kat.
Does anybody in the chat want to guess what my answer is?
No, I don't wash nothing.
I wash it by hand. I'll be in the kitchen. I just want to make it so beautiful.
So
I'm
I
sorry.
I do not wash it, but I don't leave dust and dirt. I do on something, and Richard will call me out right now because he loves to. But I have Clorox wipes out here in the shed, and I had them before inside at my listing area, and I will use Clorox wipes and I will wipe them down. Or if it's a delicate like vintage or antique like statue piece, I use the air. I didn't use the air on the china pieces. I used Clorox wipes, but it, I do not wash them. I had a barn. Listen, I had a barn by almost like I would imagine Tina has a barn full of stuff that was covered in muck. That stuff I scrubbed by hand and then I put it in the dishwasher. So if it needs it, but if you're buying it from an estate sale, typically it's been in somebody's cabinet and it's clean. And I would hope if somebody buys used china that they're going to wash it first before they use it. You would think.
You never know.
We had a lot of questions back to back. I know one of them was for you, Tina, asking what is the best kind of vinyl to buy. I do remember that.
Well, I just, like I said, I'm selling all genres, but you know, of course, all the classic rock and roll. I sell a lot of those. Aerosmith. You know, I can't even think of any names right now, but just the classic rock, heavy metal. And then I'm selling a lot of orchestra music, and I sold a ton of Christmas albums this year. So, just old Christmas albums like Nat King Cole and some of the classics, Sinatra, and, you know, just some really good classic Christmas music. Those things sold this year really well. So it just depends. I mean, it really depends because I've listed some things that I would never have. I mean, I just sold an old album. I don't know, y'all probably won't even know what it is, but it was a musical. I've sold a lot of musicals, but this was the Streetcar Named Desire, and it was a musical from the movie, and I sold that one. So it just shocks you at what will sell.
Yeah,
so
and
I would say to that person, just whatever you can get. I would be very careful buying it unseen, because I try to like buy the stuff or get the stuff so that I can look at it and make sure it's not all scratched up and stuff. So that would be my biggest tip, is just to be careful, you know, and make sure that they're not so scratched up that they don't play.
And if you see stuff that says promotional copy only, that means it was originally being distributed to the radio stations. And sometimes there's obscure things that they got a pressing of that then was changed in some way before it was mass released. And some of those can be money too. So definitely look for promotional copy.
Absolutely. That's a good tip.
And how much do you normally pay, Tina, or about what price point do you like to buy them at? Look at that grin.
0 to I paid $50 for about 150 albums. So I actually got 6 banana boxes, if everybody knows what a banana box is, but 6 banana box, and they were stacked in there like this, 6 of them for free. Yeah.
Free 99 is the best price for anything.
0.
Yeah. And Dee wants to know, if you have a buyer that buys something and you have other items you think they would be interested in, do you contact them?
Absolutely. I got into the business before eBay, and I managed a chain of antique malls. That's how I got into the business. And before eBay, we made a huge business on mail order, because we just asked everybody to leave away. Oh, you like that? Oh, you bought that? Hey, why don't you leave your name if we get more? And most people do not take offense to that. If they've already given you their email and told you they have an interest in something, it's because they're interested. So absolutely. And now I wouldn't do it blind, or, you know, if it's something that's sort of tangential, I'm not going to bug somebody, but you know, you're doing them a service, and all they could say is, oh no, I'm not interested, or I only bought that one because I thought it looked good on my shelf. And that's fine. Then, you know, but absolutely, you can definitely Plus, it's fun. You get to know someone who has this, is into this thing, this category, this stuff that you like too, or at least you liked it enough to pick it up. So it's a great way to build a business.
Julian, do you?
I say I only do this on eBay if I've already had a conversation with the person about the item. So like the guy with the reels, he was asking a lot of questions, and he was like, then I was like, wait a second, I got like 3 more, right? So then that's how that started. And I do this a lot more locally than anything, not so much on eBay. If somebody asks me, so all my stuff is usually listed locally. Some of these reel combos are pretty big, like fishing reels. I mean, they're big to ship. And a lot of times I have the rod attached to them, so they're kind of a pain to ship. But so if somebody asks me about that, I immediately go into like, hey, I can set you off for offshore trolling because I also have this, this, and this. So I do that more locally than I would say on eBay.
Tina, do you?
I'm like Julian. If I've had conversation with that person, we've been messaging about the item that they're buying from me, I will mention something else. But as far as just if they buy something and I think I've got something else they want, I have not done that yet. I won't say that I won't, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
I have on Facebook Marketplace with my shipping, with my pottery. If I have pieces from a specific potter and they buy one, because I feel eBay is kind of wishy-washy. As far as like the sale, but you're trying to sell more on eBay, so you shouldn't have any problems. But on Facebook, I've made several sales like that saying, hey, I have another piece by Salmon Falls. Did you see that pottery piece as well? And I'm like, I can make that listing and you don't have to pay any extra shipping, and I'll put it in the same box. And I've made several sales that way. So with the pottery, I think people's pottery style, like they tend to stick to a lot of them stick to the same. So like the salt glaze, and I had some other pieces that were really similar. And I think somebody bought 3 or 4 of those pieces. And that was for me just saying, hey, like, I have these other pieces. Did you see? Because I have over 1,000 on Facebook Marketplace too. And their stores aren't easy to navigate like eBay. I can't send somebody to my store and say, hey, search this. I can't even figure out how to tell people to search my Facebook Marketplace, unfortunately. So I find the link and send it to them. And then Crystal has a question for George. How often do you sell at the Burlington show, and do you ever do Lawrenceburg?
I am going to be doing Burlington next week. It'll be the first show of the season, and I have to admit, I was scrambling around trying to find appropriate stock today because I've been selling a lot online, and so I felt a little short, but I think I've got some things. So I'll be there this weekend. I have not sold at Lawrenceburg yet. I'm sure I will. It seems like it conflicts with another show I do a lot of times. But it's supposed to be really great, and it's not really that much farther. So I'm sure I'll get there sometime this season.
Monique wants to know, is there anything you can do to get buyers to leave feedback to start generating it?
Ask them to.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
I don't bother, I will tell you, and I find only probably about 20 to 25% of buyers leave feedback on eBay. Facebook, Mercari, Poshmark, I don't care what stars they give me. I don't care what they say, because I don't feel like it affects anything. I hate to say that, but I mean, I ship what I should, but I never even go look at my feedback on those other platforms. And that's just because it's not hitting my I feel like eBay people look at feedback a little more. What did I just buy? I just bought something, and it might have even been boxes, because I was trying to find a new supplier for a certain size box, and one person had 96% and one had 99. So I went in, I looked at those, and I went $2 more with the person with 99% feedback, because there were a lot of didn't get item on time. Order was short, and I'm like, nope. So I used to put cards in, but now I don't even bother. I figure the bad thing is most people tend to leave it more if they're mad than if they're happy. So that's the only bad thing.
Yeah, I had a bad experience with eBay years ago when I was trying to write I wrote a book on treasure craft pottery and pottery craft stoneware, and I was buying things to illustrate the book, and I had horrible experiences with shipping at that time. People have gotten better since then. But I had a situation where this was before they managed the payments, and I paid a guy, and he turned me in as a non-paying bidder and made me pay again. It turned out it was a complete scam. Then he skipped off to Brazil or wherever. And apparently he ripped off something like 1,000 people for a total of $15,000 or $20,000. And when I contacted eBay, they said, "Oh, you should have checked his feedback." Well, I did. It was 100%. And ever since then, I got to be honest, I don't leave feedback ever, because to me, it doesn't really mean anything, but it does mean something to some people. So if people ask me to do it, I will. And so if you want people to do it, you just have to ask.
Yes. Sherry Jackson wants to know, how do you feel about eBay auctions?
I like them.
Julian's been doing a lot of auctions. I will tell you that. Julian has been doing a lot. I have one item on auction right now and 2,400 that are not. So I only put stuff if I think it could be higher value than what my buy it now would be, and I start my auctions at my buy it now price. So I have a sterling silver gorgeous basket on auction right now starting at $299, because that's the least amount that I am willing to take. I think it could be worth more. It might not be. So if I get one bid, I am happy. And if I don't, then I will probably put it on buy it now for 500. And I've done that a lot, and I get no bids, and then it sells the next week for $150 more. So I think auctions are best for very, very high in demand items, or very rare and you don't know the price. And in that case, though, I would say only if you buy it really low, because, and I didn't buy my basket low, but sterling silver and sterling, the price of sterling is rising. So that was my thinking on that. But yeah, Julian's been doing a ton of auctions. So Julian loves them, and they're working out well for you, right?
Yeah, I've been doing, I don't put everything on auction, like regular golf clubs. If it's just like generic golf club, I wouldn't really put that on auction. But like any of these fishing reels that I'm getting that people, they're not a lot out there, I'll usually, throw it up on auction. I'm going to do the same thing. I put it at a price that I feel comfortable selling at. And it's, whatever happens at that point. And if it doesn't sell, because I had a lot not sell for some reason over when I was sick, then I just relisted them as buy it now. And it just it was boosting my store when I couldn't list, because I was selling a similar, I think, because my sales went like crazy, because I had a whole bunch end at one time, but then they sold for buy it now for the same price I was going to take for the auction. So it wasn't really like a lose situation, but I do like them. I've been doing a lot more since we talked to Jocelyn in that last thing a while back.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it works for her. Let me see what I can do.
Julian's just throw them up there.
Yeah, throw them up. See what happens. Not for $4 though.
I agree. I have a friend who deals in Chinese antiquities and things that are potentially very, very valuable. And, he lists every single item at $9.99, no reserve. And I'm just like, but it could be a $5,000 item. And he said, yeah, and the market will tell me that. And it always turns out fine. So if you're dealing with something that is fairly scarce, fairly unique, but when I do a bonus video every month for my members and level 2 members. And what I do is I pick 20 items out, and the idea of doing it on eBay is so they get to watch it drop and they can bid on it. But I always do a buy it now. And then if it's more desirable than the minimum I wanted to take, well, then the market tells me that, and that's great. So
pull it off auction, you mean? Like on the auction, you do a buy it now?
I'll do a buy it now. I'll put it as a buy it now or an auction. And so they have the option to get it at the price that I'm willing to take right now, or they can take their chance and see where it goes in the auction. But once you get a bid, the buy it now disappears. Right. So I always start it at the buy it now, just like you said.
Okay.
That's
Tina, what
my
about
way.
you? Yeah.
I'm like you. I only have one thing on auction right now. So I haven't really done a lot of auctions. Most of my stuff's buy it now. So I haven't had a lot of experience with auctions. Maybe one day I'll dip my toes in there a little bit further.
eBay used to be like the home of auctions in the 90s. eBay, like everything. I would start stuff at 99 cents and not think twice about it because everything was auctioned, but that is not anymore. I think Amazon came into play. People are in a mindset of they want it right now. They don't want to wait unless it's rare and they can't get it by it now. Then they would have to bid. But I think most people nowadays are in the mindset of I want it and I want it now.
Yeah.
That is true.
Roy wants to know, am I still buying auction lots regularly? I have not been. What's regular? Okay, like maybe once a week.
So every day.
Not every, yeah, instead of every day. I have almost got the shed full, and I am actually getting 4 new Eats and Allen pieces tomorrow. The shipper that is coming to pick up a side table that I sold that's going to Pennsylvania is coming from the Florida Keys. And I was like, hey, could you pick me up some stuff in South Florida if I find it on Marketplace? And he said, yeah, sure. He said, $25 a piece. I'm driving right through there. So I went to Marketplace and I found 4 pieces that were priced well, which are going to fill up the other half of the shed. I don't know where I'm going to put them. And I'm really trying to add the higher value items. That is really a goal of mine, but I can't pass up like 1,000 DVDs for $300. I'm going to buy them because if those DVDs sell for $5 each, that's $5,000 on a $300 buy. And if Brad will list them, hopefully he will not walk in behind me again. If Brad will list them, and that gets more items into my store and more activity into my store, whoever texted him last time, don't do it again.
Wasn't me.
I know his mom watches. His mom watches sometimes. But if I can list 20 DVDs in an hour. No joke. It's scan them. All the info's there. Front picture, back picture. I don't use stock pictures, and you're done. And I can sit on the couch with a piece of cardboard and go to town and just list a stack of DVDs. So I have not watched my favorite auctions. I have not looked at them because those are the ones that I come home with 20 to 25 box lots that would fill up half the shed by themselves. So those are high bid auctions, Roy. And I have bought a couple of lots off Shop Goodwill that were smaller. Like I bought some brooches off there. When I get bored, I think I need to buy things. But I try to buy little lots, because I have too many. So I am, but not as often. I'm trying to behave. And I've been saying that my whole life, I think. Yeah. Pale Somi, I don't know how to say that. Does anyone flip vintage tools?
Some, not like a ton.
I will if I can find them.
Yeah, not like super old stuff, but anything like Craftsman, Snap-on, that stuff that's still good. It still sells, and you can pick it up for super cheap. My thing is 100% yard sales on those. People have it in their old toolboxes, and they're just trying to get rid of it, and it's super easy to pick it up at yard sales for like 10 cents a piece. So yes.
George, what kind are you selling?
Wood planes are what always do the best for me. It doesn't matter what else I buy. I'm in a mall in Kentucky, and I am right across from a guy who has a huge double booth, and it's nothing but tools. And he takes them home and polishes them and seasons them, and they look great. And he sells, and I take my dirty, rusty ones out and set them on my shelf right across from his, and they sell too. But for me, it's actually, I'm finding more interest in machinist chests and little boxes and things you keep tools in than the tools themselves. But the things I'd sell the most are the woodworking tools, especially planes. Spoke shavers sell really well. Old ones, I don't know why people are fascinated with those, like they're like a double-handled draw knife. And little rules sell because I do a lot of shows, and a lot of times it's women and men shopping together. And the women will buy the rules as well, the folding rulers and stuff, because they're practical for them for other reasons besides workshop.
That makes sense.
I agree
So
with that.
Spangler's Lake Norman Shelties from Facebook, and we are streaming live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now.
Cool.
So this question is from Facebook. How do you price something you can't find much on? I bought 3 vintage rugs or wall hangings and can't find much on them anywhere.
That gets into appraisal, and I'm a certified appraiser, and that doesn't mean that I can find everything either. Sometimes you just have to find the closest comparable thing that you can and hope that you're doing the right thing and trust your luck. And that's one reason, again, that eBay can be a great place, because you can set a price on it that's high enough that you'll feel good about getting it, or you can put it on auction and see what the market tells you. And somebody out there may know something that you don't. And if 2 people know something you don't, then it's going to shoot up. So sometimes you learn afterwards and you know for the next time. But the truth is that, you know, especially when you're talking about textiles and things that were handmade, there isn't another one exactly like it. It's unique. Anything folk art, pieces of furniture that people made by hand could be, you know, it could be the only one ever that was made like it. And so you just have to do your best to find the qualities and how it's made and look at the construction and compare it to other things and try to base it on that. It's really all you can do sometimes. There is, when I went to appraisal school, the first thing they drilled into our head is that an appraisal is an opinion of value based on what you know, because there is nobody who knows everything about everything.
Right. And I use WorthPoint a lot, but like George was saying, a lot of times I can't find the exact item, but I try and find items that are very similar, and then I will price around that. And again, if the market's going to dictate, even if you have it, buy it now, because, and I put on or best offer. So if I get a ton of offers that are lower, and then there are pieces that I'm hard-headed about. I have a Merritt Island pottery piece that I've been offered $300 for. I paid $12 for it, and I have like rejected their offer every time, because smaller 6-inch pieces of Merritt Island pottery sell for $100 to $200. I have a 10-inch beautiful, beautiful piece, and I'm going to get what I want. And if I don't, it'll sit looking very pretty on my shelf, and I like it. So that's okay with me. And it's only $12 sitting there while I wait for somebody to appreciate it as much as I do. So it depends, I think, too, on how fast you want to flip these items. If coming up with a price that you're okay taking, you know, if you paid $5 for it, you might be happy with 50 or 100, you know, and you get it and you're good, but you might not ever find a true value. And hello, Jocelyn, I see you like flying by. We do have 300 people in the chat, so thank you guys for joining us and watching us. And Jocelyn said she broke the app button saying hello to everyone. So I can't answer this. I don't know if you guys do. Sal wants to know how to reset business policies on eBay. I do not use them, so I do not have them.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know what that is. Could you enlighten me?
So I think, and Tina, do you know about this before I start talking?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what I think. And again, I do not use them. But with business policies, you can set up like your items from like 0 to 8 ounces are always $5 to ship. And from 8 ounces to 16 ounces are always $6 to ship. And I think you can set up like your returns, and there's a bunch of stuff that I would rather just hand set every time I list something. And I have heard more troubles about this than I have heard good. I'm sure somebody in the chat has probably already said some stuff about that, but I've not heard good stuff, so I've not looked into it. So I can't really be of much help, unfortunately. I'm trying to see
what she said. Yeah, I got a clue.
You're like, we don't know.
We have no idea.
There were a lot of questions. Look, Jocelyn says she sees her favorite Nomad.
Oh, hi, Jocelyn. It's nice to see you.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Well, I don't really see you, but I see you in the chat.
We see you, kind of. Hello, Clay. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. I cannot answer this. I don't know if George or Tina might be able to answer this. I cannot answer this question.
I can't see it.
It's okay. Best way to test vintage silver items, trinket dishes, decor pieces. And it might be very wrong of me, but I go point the opposite way of what you think it is, and that's the way he is. Like, look, I remember half the time. If stuff is marked, unless it's very high. So my silver basket I started at 300 was tested by the auction company, by their jeweler. And I had brought in probably only about 4 pieces over my selling history that I felt I was going to ask a high enough price that I wanted it verified by a jeweler that it was what it said it was. And everything else, I just take pictures, show the markings, and that is what I do. So I have not ever tested anything.
You can get testing kits. I know that you certainly can for gold, and I believe for silver as well. My experience has been that most silver is well marked, and the most important thing is to learn the hallmarks. I help an organizer when she helps people move to old age homes and they don't have any family to help them. I'll take stuff on for them, and she got all excited this week and said, "Oh, I have all this. It says German silver," and I had to explain to her that German silver is not silver at all. You really want to look for sterling or 0.925, and it is worth your while to learn how the Europeans mark their silver pieces, because there is a lot of European silver in the American market that has different marks that if you know, you can easily identify, but a lot of people pass those over. But you can get, I think silver has a chemical testing kit just like gold does. I personally prefer the chemical rather than the electronic, even though it's messy and you have to take it with you, because the electronic, the Chinese are finding ways to fool them. And they're sending in fake gold that tests for gold with the electronic testers. So you have to make sure you have a good one or use the old-fashioned chemical test. But I assume silver can be tested that way too. I just find very little silver that isn't marked.
Yeah, I think most of it is. My basket is not marked 925. It is marked by a maker, but as the estate sale certified that it was tested by the jeweler and found to be sterling. Miss Deb would like to know, do we pay a service to cross-post your listings?
I do. I use List Perfectly.
Yeah, but you don't pay them to do it. You
no. I
do.
Software
to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I pay something so it's easier to do, but right. I do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, List Perfectly makes it a ton easier. I know, Julian, have you got an affiliate link? I have an affiliate link, the Nurse Slipper. If anybody wants to try it, it's 30% off. I pay my mother. I pay my mom $10 an hour, and she comes 3 days a week. And because I didn't like her pictures, I had her taking pictures, I had her listing, and we have found that she can cross post. So she can sit and she uses List Perfectly, and she cross posts all my items 3 times a week. She's actually up to like page 8 of 15. So she's almost halfway through my 2,500 items. And yeah, so I'd probably pay her more. I'd give her $150 a week, and some days she feels like doing it for 2 hours. Some days she does it for 4. But she watches the baby for me and Brad to pack, so she does that as well. So I pay her. What about you, George? Do you cross post?
I don't do it a lot, and when I do, my friend who helps me with eBay is generally responsible for that, because he gets the perk of being able to list some of his stuff on my site. He does not want to have his own eBay stuff going at all, so that's our arrangement.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Tina, are you cross-posting yet?
I'm only on eBay.
Okay. 100%. Yeah, and I think it's good to get a handle on eBay, or I had somebody in my members only that's only on Poshmark. Whatever platform you pick, get a handle on it before you start trying to jump out to these other platforms. They, though, have saved my butt, and Julian knows my sales this week are the worst they have been in over a year on eBay. I don't know why. My impressions, my stuff is getting seen. It's just not selling. And it's hard, but it happens.
Even though it is officially rolled back a little bit, in people's minds, this is tax week. It's always a slow week.
Yeah, it's been slow. And and I told Julian, my other platforms today beat out eBay. That's probably the first time ever. My Facebook, Mercari, and Poshmark sales beat out my eBay sales, which is very, very rare. And Facebook Marketplace shipping, it has the lowest fees of any of the platforms. It's only 5. And they don't do returns, guys. They don't do returns. And I've been like, I just sold some gorgeous little just pewter knickknacks that were in a box lot I had. So I just lotted up 6 of them, $20 on Facebook Marketplace, sold in less than 2 hours. My little knickknacks, my photographs, like my vintage framed lithographs, have been selling for $30 to $50 fast on Facebook Marketplace shipping, which is nice. And jewelry and the brooches. I sold 3 the first day they were listed. So Facebook Marketplace has surprised me. Inside Out Triangle, thank you. My Shop Goodwill video, the first one I did was over a year ago when I first started YouTube. I was very, very new, and I actually did like a screen recording from my phone, and I didn't know what I know now, and my sound was horrible. So I thought it was time to redo my Shop Goodwill video. So I'm glad you won 3 auctions. What shipping service is this? A chat in the chat? A chat in the chat?
I didn't say
that would listen. I love any kind of treasure hunting. I will tell you guys. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I rented like the bottom of someone's home in the Florida Keys, and they were real treasure hunters, like diving, finding ship stuff that they might not have should have been fine. Like that stuff is fascinating to me. I would love to be able to dive and go find shipwrecks, and I just like hunting for treasure. Like I haven't done the whole metal detecting thing, but I went like in the creek looking for fossils and shark's teeth, and I love all of that stuff. So I would go panning for fake gold or the gems just because I want to find them. You know, you got to find the stuff. So I don't know that any of us really do shoes that require authentication, which I think is what this comment is about. But that's kind of rough. So they're saying the authentication, which is done by eBay for the shoes, took so long, the buyer left a negative feedback. So you guys that are selling shoes, be mindful of that. I don't think you have an option. I think you can pick if you want them authenticated. So maybe don't authenticate them. Jocelyn is very happy that you're better, Julian. I'm probably way behind. How behind am I? I'm 20 minutes behind. I am trying.
Yeah.
I am trying.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I think 30 minutes ago for that.
Listen. I would contact them again on HiBid. I would email them because typically the pay links on HiBid auctions are emailed automatically when the auction ends. It's not something they physically have to do. And I would worry about losing your stuff because with HiBid, George ran away. With HiBid, if you don't pick it up, typically the next day or within a couple of days, you lose it. So I would call the phone number would be my recommendation on that.
Yeah, I never had one say that usually it's already automated. Like right? That's what happens on mine.
Yeah, it's automated. Vintage Moonbeam, I'm very glad I encouraged you to list on eBay. eBay pisses me off sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I get mad at eBay, and you will sometimes, like you guys will see, I haven't had a pissed off video. I'm trying to move you guys back, and it doesn't want to let me. Why won't it let me? Hold on. I get used to where people are. Aha. So eBay, I haven't got very mad at eBay in a long time, but I've gotten very mad at eBay, and there are crappy experiences, and it's going to happen. But I've learned to like do a whole meditating thing. And most of the time I just give them their money back, block them and tell them to go away. Now, sometimes I do. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I might literally say that, but you kind of got to let it go. And, you know.
A breathing exercise.
Yes.
Breathe. So that's interesting. So Anthony says he only gets 75% of and buy it now. But if he thinks he'll get the traffic, that's where the high demand for the auctions comes into play. And I know you guys have already listened, Jocelyn. Listen, lady.
She runs auctions.
She runs auctions. Don't start $4 auctions, because don't do that. Unless you're Jocelyn, then do that. I've won an auction from someone for ladies golf clubs, and now they say they don't have them and canceled. So here, Judy, is where I was talking about earlier. So that person probably started that auction off lower than what they were willing to accept. They expected that auction to go higher, and because it didn't, they're canceling on you, which is 110% wrong. And that gives all of us a bad name. Just like if I lose something, I'm looking bad for all of eBay. And that's why I say, if you're going to do an auction, if you start at 99 cents, you better be ready to take 99 cents for that item, because it might happen. Started at the lowest amount you're willing to take. I would bet money that they do have that product, but that your auction bid was not what they were wanting. Does anybody else think anything differently on that?
Not with golf clubs. How do you lose golf clubs?
They're pretty big. Yeah. Hard to misplace these things.
Absolutely.
When selling on eBay, do you use the feature they offer of decreasing the price automatically?
No.
No.
Not a big fan of decreasing my prices.
I don't want eBay decreasing my prices.
No.
No, Dutch auctions are an interesting concept for a reseller, but I don't know why a seller would ever want to sell that way, unless they just really want to get rid of it at whatever price, in which case just put a low price on it and get rid of it.
That's true.
Listen, Jocelyn's saying it's my fault that she's bidding on all of these auctions. That's because, like, when Jocelyn and I first became friends, I'm like, I see her videos every day. I know she's going to Goodwill. I'm like, do you ever buy stuff on auction? And then I'm like, where do you live? When we first started talking. And I went through and found her like all this cool glass stuff. I'm like, look at all this stuff on auction. And it never stopped. So now she does her stuff on it. She finds me stuff. Jocelyn will send me stuff and be like, hey, she even finds Brad stuff. She knows he likes Pokemon cards. Jocelyn sends me links of Pokemon cards. Kevin loses clubs. Just saying.
Yeah.
Now my chat just jumped 20 minutes. So I'm going to try and scroll back because I'm sure I missed stuff. Christy Fowler sent a super sticker. I will give you your dolphin. Thank you very much.
Super chat.
Weird. How often do you relist an item?
Get it back. Built in, maybe it'll switch back.
What do I hear talking?
Yeah, we're gonna have to leave and come back in. We're gonna have to leave and come back in the link.
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
George, do you hear it?
I'm having a little trouble with my camera. I may have to leave and come back in.
Oh, George is frozen. So tabs, I don't ever end and relist an item personally.
I do this every so often. It's not like a every day or every week or every month occurrence, but if I'm going through my inventory, like just on my phone, and I see one that's a little bit like I could do better on the price or the fix something on it, then I'll end it, then relist it. And if I'm not meeting my quota of what I want to list that day, if something happened or say you get sick for 2 weeks, I do. I was doing a lot of that in the last 2 weeks, ending and listing and fixing things, and it worked out. So it's not like an everyday thing, but I do it a lot.
Christy, I think that Facebook Marketplace has like a group like the eBay for Business that you can message like their Facebook page. I would try doing that. That is the only thing I have heard as far as contacting them. Does anybody else know anything?
Nope.
No.
Haven't had an issue on there yet.
Did you see Harry's comment?
No, what'd he say?
He said that dummy wants to come back to Delaware.
Hold on. I'm not letting y'all see my butt. Hold on.
Hi, Harry.
So the shed is haunted. Could be. What?
Look, but he has a friend. He has an Enaman now. He holds the Enaman on my shelf.
Oh,
Can you see him here? Where does he need to live, Harry? He would have to sit on the floor. I haven't figured out how I'm recording. He's in my videos, Harry. He's not coming back to Delaware.
He's part of
Sir
the
Andrew is staying. See, I can't make him here. I mean, I could put up my picture, and he has his friend, the Enaman. Look, you can't see him, though. Like, can you see him? Okay, here. There, are you happy now, Harry? Don't want to make Harry mad. There you go. He's back. Hold on. Let me see what I'm missing here. If I missed your questions throughout this, please put it back in. Oh, George, sorry. Oh, wait. I have to do it. Oh, you're in the right place. Okay. Perfecting pearls. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. I hope you feel better soon. Harry, this is very uncomfortable. I hope you're happy to see your dummy. Just saying.
Hey, Antiques from Karen says, Harry, I have 4 of those. Do you want one? LOL.
I fought with Harry for a year to get this dummy because Harry had too much apple juice one night on a live, and he had 2 of these, and I said, Harry, are you going to give me one of them? And Harry said yes. And Harry's mistake was it was on video. He did not remember telling me yes. So after that night, I kept telling him, and Harry finally mailed me this dummy, who is crowned Sir Andrew on New Year's Eve. Jocelyn was there. Kayla and I were drinking and got a little tipsy live on New Year's Eve on YouTube, which everybody enjoyed because I am very professional, more so on my videos than my lives. My lives, you guys see it a little bit more, but yeah. So we have a question from somebody. I'm not sure who that is. Where are your favorite places to source?
I want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear where Tina gets it.
That's what I'm saying. Tina, talk some.
Oh, my favorite place to source. Well, thrift stores, yard sales. I'm getting into some high bid auctions, but I'm gonna get the Nurse Flipper to help me with those here real soon. But here lately, my favorite sourcing place has been the woods.
Oh yeah, tell everybody now. Now would be. I'm gonna make you big, you guys. This story is amazing, but nobody else go to her barn. Tina, do not let anyone that is not me or Sir Andrew go to your barn. Okay. Tell everybody about your barn. This is a cool story, guys.
Okay, so we have a house in 9 acres, and we just started exploring the land. We didn't explore it at first, and we started exploring out there, and we found about 5 or 6 outbuildings on the property, and there's just treasures everywhere out there, and some even in the ground that we've dug up. So everything from Nortaki to beautiful crystal decanters, beautiful crystal bowls and baskets, just so many things. McCoy, Roseville, California pottery, just some amazing stuff. We just couldn't believe it. So it's been amazing.
She dug it out of the barn. Well, she didn't, but
No,
it was.
I didn't. I don't go in the woods and do any of the digging.
I will.
do the,
Listen,
I
will
do
go
the
in the woods.
cleaning.
I will go in the woods and dig. I will go dig.
I don't. No, I don't like bugs and spiders and snakes.
I don't mind them. In Florida, they're everywhere, so I'm okay with them.
You get used to it.
I will clean it. I will wash it, and I will clean it, and I will do.
But she will not dig it up out of the ground.
I'm not going to the woods.
George, where's yours?
I like flea markets. I like estate sales. I like places where you have a chance to get multiple items in a relatively short period of time where you get to actually see them, pick them up, and you can just buy it and walk on. I like auctions, but unless it's a country auction where there's just a lot of stuff you need to know a lot of it's going to go cheap, I'd rather go to a place where I can leave a bid because I got other things to do. You know, the idea of sitting for 3 hours through an auction and maybe going home with nothing is hard for me to swallow. So I love auctions if I know the stuff's going to go cheap enough that I'll get stuff, or I can leave a bid and take my chances. I like the last day of antique shows because people don't necessarily want to pack their stuff up. And you will find sometime, almost every antique show I do, somebody does half off on the last day. And you can get some deals there. So, it just depends. I like thrift stores if I'm in an area where they're good. When I visited Yvonne, the thrift stores were great. When I'm in Washington, thrift stores are great. When I'm in Florida, they can be. It depends where I am. And where I am right now, I saw Fatbirds out there, and hi there. They will testify that it is tough in our part of Kentucky to find anything in a thrift store. So, but there's really no bad place. I mean, they're all fun. My best find this week was a modernist sofa and chair that I got out of a dumpster behind the bank that shut down. US Bank shut down during the lockdown and are not reopening. And they had this 1966 bank facility with the original furniture, and they threw it in the dumpster. And I was just like, oh no, we're not leaving that there.
Tina, were you raising your hand or saying hi?
I did. Oh, I was saying hi too. I did. I wanted to say that I can see the chat going, but I can't comment because I didn't log into YouTube, and so it's operator error. But I can see everybody's stuff, and RL Vintage Treasures.
That's Renee. Yes.
Ask me a question.
Go ahead.
She wants to know how I clean albums, and she's asked it a couple of times. So I was waiting for the best time to get in.
Go ahead.
But I have a kit that I clean my albums with, and I know that there's probably some other people that have a lot better equipment than I do. But most of the time, this stuff works very well. I have a groove cleaner. It's called Groovy Cleaner.
I'm gonna make you big so they can see you.
It's called Groovy Cleaner, and it's a spray. And I use a microfiber cloth. And it just cleans like fingerprints and even scratches. If they're not too deep, it will clean a scratch off. So it's called Groovy Cleaner, and you spray it. I've got a couple of other little things here. I've got a little pad here that's it's made by Audio Technica. It's just like it's almost like a chalkboard eraser in a way, but it's got grooves in it, and you can just go around the album with that. So I do a few things, but most of the time my albums, I try to get ones that aren't, too beat up. But I'm telling you, this Groovy Cleaner will clean scratches. So that's what I do.
Jocelyn, I like to source from high-bid auctions. I think most everybody knows that. So for me, it's almost the same as George saying, like the in-person auctions. The ones here that I know, stuff does go really low, and I always would get stuff, but they run from 8 a.m. until I don't know when, because I never last that long. And a lot of times I'll want like this one thing on the last table, And then I could leave a bid, but then it's an hour away and I have not went back. They probably have banned me, honestly. I paid for it. They can run my card, but I'm not driving back for one item. And so I have just stopped that. So I like high bid because you can do it wherever you are. Like if I'm at work and a high bid auction's ending, I can look. I like to bid last minute. I will throw one bid in if I'm really interested, so I can look at like bidding now. That stuff I don't want to miss. And then I look at my watch list. And if I win one or two items, I'm going to win more because most of the auctions are about 2 hours from me. And I love the Julian knows, and he started buying them as well. I love linen closets. Julian bought a whole attic. I linen closets, if I see vintage linen, are like so much money. And box lots, most box lots, I can find one item that will more than double or triple the cost of the whole box. So everything else is like a throw in. And I like, and it's almost like treasure hunting too, because the box lots, and I don't want the high bid people to take better photos because then the prices will be high. So I find stuff in there that I had like, and I mean $50 and $100 items that I didn't even know were in that box lot. Because if you, and this is what I like to tell people, if you look at the rest of that estate or that auction and there are high valued items, chances are most of their stuff, or a good percent of it, is gonna be good quality items. So I'm fine bidding on something that I can't see very well if I see one or two items that I know will sell. So I love high bid. I like thrifting, but I do thrifting more for like to de-stress and calm myself, to go just look and find things. But that doesn't get the quantity of items that I move through. I need to do high bid auction. Our thrift stores around here are not very great for a lot of, not very great for many things. You know, you'll just find a handful of items and I can't stock my store with that.
Yeah, I am really amazed. I think high bid is a great idea for, you know, they put the special things or the things they know or something up, but then because I conduct estate sales too, and I'm just amazed that when it's the linen closet, it's so funny you mentioned that. I showed a gal that I've worked with who's been in the business for way longer than I have, and she works with us at our estate sales out west. And I said, I showed her a picture and I said, what do you think the stuff in this linen closet would price for? And she said, well, there's a Rowenta iron and this many linens. Yeah, we'd get about $200 or $250 out of it if we held that sale. And I said, yeah, it went for $50. And she was like, you're kidding. Why would they give it away like that? And I'm like, because you can't go and see it in person and you just take your chances. So nobody is bidding on that stuff. So it's actually a great way to get that kind of thing if you want quantity of a certain type of thing.
Yeah.
Very true.
How about you, Julian? Where do you get your stuff?
And then Tina, I see you raising.
Oh, sorry, Tina.
You can just butt in
No, it's
too.
okay.
Like, if you butt in loud enough, everybody else will shut up. But we'll let Julian answer.
Right now, we're having like a string of like neighborhood yard sales, and I live in a very golf enriched area, fishing enriched area, so I can't really miss them. So like I'm out. Some of them's been on even Wednesdays, like Wednesday yard sales. It's insane, but usually it's like a Friday through Saturday type of thing, and we hit as many as we can. And I usually can do pretty good right now. And then I still look at like high bid. I still look at storage auctions. I've done that before. I've done a whole bunch. I'm still looking at those things, but I'm really focusing on like this Saturday. There is a big one in my area that, you know, we'll get there super early and we'll stay until we find enough that I can list for an entire week. We cleaned up the last weekend when I was able to go out, and we did super, super well. But this area that I'm in is just growing, and people are coming in here and they're moving in and they're selling all their old stuff because they're buying new stuff. So it's really quite a good area to be. Our thrift stores are going down, but the yard sales are like stuff you can get super good. So everywhere is the answer. Everywhere.
Okay. Two things. A guy, I think it's a guy named Mick Jodo. If I messed your name up, I'm sorry. He wants to know if the Groovy Cleaner takes scratches out of glass. And I do not know. You would have to Google that, Groovy Cleaner, and see what it says. But I don't know about glass. It only says that it's for vinyl records. And then Decor and More says, does reselling give us a reason to hoard? And I say yes. Yes.
Julian doesn't hoard. If you guys don't know, Julian like lists everything in one day, and if it's no good, he like throws it away.
Or I'll donate it or give it away. Yep.
I put it in banker boxes and keep it in my shed for a rainy day.
We will all eventually want to be more like Julian because, yes, you can turn into a hoarder in this business. And the worst thing, as far as places to shop, the estate sales that I've both conducted and gone to, if it's a retired antique dealer, everything looks great in the pictures. And when you get there, everything has a chip or a crack because it's all the stuff they never could sell.
It's funny. George, do you see the question here? Oh,
yes. How do you describe little naked people on an Italian wall plate? Well, if they have, is that a hot or not question? No, I think if they have wings, they're called puto, P-U-T-T-O. And if there's more than one of them, they're putti, P-U-T-T-I. That's the only Italian word for little naked people I know. And they specifically have to have angel wings. I actually just finished a video that'll be on my channel tomorrow, I think, or Monday. I can't remember which one it is, but they had those. And I discovered that they originally were an erotic, the cherubs were considered erotic, and it was part of Greek and Roman erotica. And then at some point in the Middle Ages and the early Renaissance, they decided to make them religious figures by giving them angel wings.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. I just want to point this out again. I don't think any of us do shoes, but I know a lot of you might. Katie is saying that you do not have a choice for the authenticating, that you have to have it done if they are high-end Nikes and a couple of other brands. And Dave Tesla Picker, I did see you from the USA earlier. I did not click on you. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're still here, but I saw you. I'm trying to see. Where am I at? I'm still 20 minutes behind. I'm trying. I
can see them, but I can't type, or my camera will shake all over.
It just jumped all fast. And it flew by. Okay. Harry, listen. If you guys don't watch Harry finds cool stuff all the time, but Harry has a great sense of humor. And when he used to come on regular, Harry was like who I listened to go to sleep. Like at bedtime, I had Harry on. The baby knew who Harry was, and I just love Harry. And Annie sent me the dummy, and he didn't pay me to say that, but he has a great sense of humor, and Annie finds cool stuff. Annie tries to ride pedal cars with a helmet on. Like, who would not like to watch a grown man put a helmet on and try to ride a pedal car? So check Harry Humstone out if you have not. He is great. I'm not like, I'm more knowledgeable and less entertaining. I try, but some people are naturally entertaining, and that is Harry. Harry is an entertainer. A natural I have to try to entertain. I don't do it naturally. I don't know why. I'm catching up. We're talking about Jocelyn's dumpster. They locked people out, so they caught the thing on fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Richard, thank you again. You guys. Jennifer Hayes. Okay, I have two main moderators in here who are always helping me. One is Jennifer Hayes. The other is Richard, who is Otnip Drop Flips, which is Ford Pinto Flips backwards. Jennifer, drop Richard's link, and Richard, drop Jennifer's link, because I know neither one of them are going to drop their own link because they won't do that. So you guys drop links. There went Sir Andrew. He's drinking again.
Nobody touched that doll. Did you?
Harry, he's here.
Oh, just saw that move. That's it. I'm leaving. See y'all later.
Here, a
Well,
question
did y'all
from.
see,
Oh,
did y'all
show
see my
us.
lady? Did y'all
Show
see
us
my
the
lady
lady.
jump? Sorry.
No, show us. I was telling you to show us.
She jumped off. Did y'all see her jump off the shelf a minute ago at me?
No.
I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
I can make you big. I'm making you bigger than I've ever made anybody. Oh, she's pretty.
She jumped right off this thing on me a while ago. I was like, what? I guess she wanted to be in the video.
Someone wanted to know if we believe in dinosaurs, but how about spirits?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, that dinosaur starts moving, y'all gonna see a show.
I
Here.
think Harry. I think
The
Harry should
Enderman
make.
tackled Sir Andrew.
They're fighting.
Yes. I think Harry should make his dummy do something for Halloween this year.
Harry breastfed his dummy one time.
What?
I mean, he didn't really, but it really looked like it. It really looked like it.
God.
And then Harry also, listen, Harry, like his potassium was off and he jumped out of his chair like he was on fire. And I was in there that night and that was Harry probably only had a few hundred subscribers then. And I almost fell off of my chair laughing. And I shouldn't have laughed because it was a cramp and I'm sure it hurt, but it was funny. Listen, it was funny. It was, yeah. So Harry's very entertaining and he finds it's so crazy, like Georgia's saying, like where you find stuff. Like I'd never see a pedal car down here in Florida. And Harry finds tons of pedal cars and he finds tons of glass insulators and stuff that I rarely see here. And
and those cups and saucers, my gosh, they're beautiful.
He finds
I don't know. I'm not seeing any of that stuff around here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it here
Those
either.
are so beautiful.
Caroline wants to know, and this is a good question to put up for discussion. She says she's a newbie and have realized she gets competitive with online auctions. I keep justifying upping my bids. Where do you draw the line? At doubling your money? Where do you guys stop?
I'll let them go first.
Tina, go first.
I definitely, I would draw the line at doubling my money, at least doubling my money. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. If you can't double your
But
money,
I'm not gonna,
there's
I try to get. It's hard. You get excited. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I had a lag. I found over the years, if you can't double your money by the time you take all of your time and your other things that you go into it, if you really look at your expenses, you can't make a profit if you can't at least double your money on everything, and preferably triple and preferably more, but at least double. Now, I might make an exception if I either have a ready buyer who I know wants this thing, or if it's a very expensive high-end thing. If something's going to sell for $800 and I'm paying $500, but I think I'm pretty sure to sell it for $800, well, that's probably, $300 profit. That's probably enough to justify it. But if it's $5 and I'm going to get $8, I'm not buying it.
Right. And I agree with George. I typically, like on lower cost items under about $30, I like to 10 times my money. So I'm only going to pay about $3 for something I'll sell for 30. But in the box lots, if you're getting 20 items for $20, you're $1 in. And my more expensive, like when I do the Swarovski pieces, same thing, like George is saying, like I'm okay paying $200 if it's going to sell for $5, because that's a $300 profit. And I see comps and I know that this piece is going to sell. It's probably going to sell fast, and I'm okay paying that. I have my antique steamer trunks, which I'm hoping to list tomorrow. I paid $50 for those, and they're going to sell for about $150. So that's almost tripling my money. But on smaller, lower cost, under $30 items, I want to see 10 times my money.
Yeah, mine's also a big thing of like how far I have to travel for that item. If I'm traveling like a little bit further away, I better be doing more than double my money, because you have to go get it. Like some high bid auctions are super close to my house. I'm talking like one the other day was less than 5 minutes away, and I was more apt to bid higher on those and take a little bit less return because it was only going to be literally go get it and I can have it listed in 2 hours. But if I got to travel like an hour or 2 or 3, I got to be having way more than double my money for the time.
Dee wants to know where you get Groovy Cleaner, Tina.
Google.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually buy this kit. I haven't actually had to buy any more because I got this in a lot with some records that I got. So it had like 4 bottles in it, and I'm down to 2. So I haven't looked it up, but it says Bags Unlimited Incorporated. So I would think you probably could still order it from online somewhere. I just haven't looked it up. Sorry.
Amazon or eBay. That's my answer.
Yeah, check it out.
They have everything.
I just haven't looked it up yet.
Dee wants to know, do you ever use the word lot in your description?
Yes.
I will use it if there are 2 things, I will put lot, because I think people search for lot of whatever a lot. So if it's 2 items, and I have if I have room in my title, I use the word lot a lot. What are you showing us, Julian? Oh, here, I'll make you big. Show your phone.
Groovy Cleaner.
RL Vintage Treasure said Groovy Cleaner is on eBay.
Yep. Just found it. $7.79 free shipping.
Thanks, Renee.
What about you guys as far as Tina said yes, I say yes. George and
Yes.
Julian, what say you?
Yeah, I do it for like tools and mostly tools.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gets a different buyer. And sometimes when you're selling a lot, it's because, in my case, it's because I kind of took the cream of the crop off of it and I just don't want to mess with the rest. So if someone wants to come in and, resellers look for the word lot, and I'm happy to sell to resellers. If I'm making enough money, I don't mind leaving meat on the bone. So yeah, lot is a good word for that.
Yeah, I did that with my jewelry when I got tired of it, and there were still a ton of good pieces. I was just over it. And when I do anything, if I decide this is what I'm doing, I do it a lot, like 1,000 DVDs. I don't buy 100 pen. When I buy. And then I'll move on to the next thing. So that's why I don't mind sharing, because by the time you guys are finding this stuff, I'm on to the next. I get bored easily, and that's why I love eBay and love having the variation. And I might come back to jewelry, and I learn a little bit more each time. So those higher prices or higher pieces, I might pick up individually if I'm outsourcing or on a high bid auction, and not, buy that big bulk. But when I did scarves, vintage scarves sold amazing for me. And I went and bought 1,000 more because that's what I do. If I could buy 1,000 pieces of pottery, I would. That's why I need to go to Tina's barn and dig and buy 1,000 pieces of pottery from her. And you don't have to clean them.
Cap, before you see Tin Can, a monumental event just occurred here. You went Tin Can and you came out of it.
What?
Yep, sure did.
I'm out in the shed too. We have new internet. I'm out in the shed, which has a 10 roof, and my house has a 10 roof. Because what else would we have? That is amazing. I'm glad I came out of Tin Can.
You did.
Yay.
Athena wants to know, when you accept a lower offer on an item, how long do you wait for the buyer to pay?
Oh, that's been a source for me.
What's the fastest that you can open a, what is that?
48 hours, and mine is set to automatically open.
Yeah.
I don't care the situation. And if people message me and say, hey, I can't buy this till the 1st of the month, and I do get that at least a couple of times a month, I'll have the money for this on the 1st. I tell them, okay, like if I send them an offer, because I send offers to buyers all the time, I tell them I will be happy to accept your offer of the same price I offered you. Just remind me that I sent you an offer when you are able to pay, because I automatically file non-paying bidder at 48 hours, no exceptions. It doesn't matter who it is or what the story is.
I'm a slightly different. I will take mercy on humans, and
Thanks, Julian.
if they have contacted me and give me some sort of reason, I'll be like, I'll give you a little bit more time. But if I haven't heard from you, you immediately get the 48 hours. I'm opening the thing. But if we've already had a conversation about it, I've given people a long time. But unless it's like a super high-end item, like if it's like a $300, $400 item, I can't. I'm probably have money into it, and I need that money back. But if it like one was a hammer, I waited a month, and the guy did buy it and gave me a really good review. It was like literally 30 days. But it was a hammer. Nobody
not
bought a hammer. The guy was going to love it, and he did. He said, I don't know why. It was only like $15. So.
Well, he should have waited a month to buy his hammer.
I don't know. It was one of a kind. It wasn't one of a kind. I have no idea. I have no idea why I wanted that hammer. So it was a game at that point.
George, what do you do 48 hours?
Yeah, I pretty much do 48 hours. If somebody has a really great reason, and it's different if it's a person I know or a private client, but usually I'm not dealing with them through eBay. It's somebody who saw something in a video and it's a viewer and we have some relationship, and that's different. But, with somebody I don't know, we all know what the rules are. Those are the rules. If you can't play by the rules, it's okay. Don't bid. I liked what you said about I'll be happy to honor that price if I still have it when you're able to pay.
And I have. I sold a $300 antique ironing board. 3 months later, this lady said, I love that. I have to have it. I can't pay for it. It was the first of the month. And then she kept messaging, and I'm okay. And I'm like, that's fine. I will still honor that price. I sent her an offer of $300. I had it listed at either $400 or $450. And Tina, I think you're frozen. You might need to leave and come back. Is she frozen to you guys?
No,
okay,
she's moving.
She's just being very still. So she bought it. She bought it 3 months later, and I'm fine with that. But don't buy it if you don't have the money to pay for it now. And she communicated, and she kept messaging because she wanted, and it was a one-of-a-kind antique hand painted, with scenery, a gorgeous, and I was sad. It was on my kitchen wall until it sold. So, but she bought it, and she paid immediately when she bought it because I told her I would honor the price, and I did. I accepted her offer as soon as she sent it. It was 3 months later, but if I'm willing to take that price today, I will be willing probably to take lower 3 months later, but I will take that then. Donna has a very good question. At what point do you stop putting your money back into sourcing to see some profit? I've been reselling since October of 20. I sold a lot, but I keep buying more for my eBay store.
I know my answer. I keep track of what I spent on every single thing that I buy to resell. And I put that amount back into a buying fund as soon as I get it. And the reason that I do that is when I first got into business as an antique mall dealer, I was doing it while I was in school. And so I sold $1,000 the first month, and I thought, great, I got a check for $850 after commission and all that stuff. And I put it in the bank and spent it on my bills. And then the next month I sold $600 or $700, and I put that in the bank and spent it on my bills. Well, after about 3 months, suddenly I'm out of inventory and I have no money to buy. So my recommendation is take an amount that you're willing to invest in your business and just keep turning that money over and over and over, and take out the amount you spend on the stuff as you sell it. That's how I do it. People think I'm crazy because it means keeping track of all that stuff, but I've got to tell you, I always have money to buy more because I didn't spend it all on movie or the car repair or all the other things that come into life.
That's the best answer. Yeah.
Yes.
I will say,
I go with him.
and I think that's a great idea, and that's honestly where I would I need to be right now. But I was the opposite And I don't take any of that out. I just kept pouring it in, pouring it in. I know Dave Tesla Picker's doing the same. And I say, for me, I started again really heavy in May of 2019. But my intentions are to be able to go part-time nursing, to be able to be home with Dalton more, be home with my family more. And so for me, I knew I needed to build it big. I am an RN. I make very good money. That if I want to have any chance of replacing that income to maintain our lifestyle where we are at now, I poured it all back in. And I still really only, like, I'm sitting in my beautiful 12 by 40 shed, which is not inventory, but it's something that I needed to grow my business, to have a place to store my inventory. I have put all of it back in, minus I might have paid myself $5,000 last year, and I sold over 140,000. So, but that's because I know I need to ramp up to where I'm starting to replace some of the nursing income. So my goal, like George is saying now, is I think I'm at a good, like, maintaining point. So for me, it would be good to use his method now, and when the stuff sells. And for me, it would probably just be an estimate. This goes with my cleaning thing. I don't, like, my accountant does inventory, money in, money out. I don't have to have an inventory. But, you know, use like roundabout, like I typically am at 10 to 15% of sales cost is my cost, and pull out that. And like George is saying, have a buying fund and maybe leave some. Do you pull the rest, George? How or how do you do the rest?
Yeah, because anything beyond that I take out, because for me, this is what I do for a living full time. And so that is what I live on. I have to say, there was one period where I was doing this, where I did have other income, and I did what you did. I kept putting it back in the business. And I think that's a good answer as well when you're trying to build the business. If you can afford to keep putting more and more into inventory, then that's great, because that's what you have to sell. But at the very least, don't spend your grub stake and then find yourself with no inventory and no money, because that's a sad place to be.
And I have heard of people as well, and I love managed payments for this, and I've had no complaints with managed payments overall, nothing that was significant. Is I ran into and heard a lot of new sellers that would spend all of that money, and then they didn't even have money to pay their eBay fees, and they would lose their eBay account because you don't calculate that in. So luckily, managed payments pulls that out, so you're not missing that. But you have to remember, you have fees for eBay. They should, if you're not on managed payments, please remember that. I know not everybody is. And then you also have to pay to ship, and you might need boxes or bubble wrap or tape. You need to have money for your supplies as well. So George, like when it comes to supplies like that, do you like put your costs back in and then maybe buy supplies and then pull the rest? I guess that's kind of what I was asking.
Well, to be honest with you, I pull the money that I spend on the objects and put that into buying account, and then everything else just goes into my main account that I use to run the business and take out what I need to live on and everything. I noticed Carl, the lazy reseller, said he pays himself a certain amount as a salary on a regular basis. That's another way some people do it. And depending on how you're set up, especially if you're an LLC or something other than just a person doing it as a person, that may be the best thing to do, is to pay yourself a salary. But that gets into taxes, and it's different for everybody. So,
yep.
Richard, hush. That is all. It fast forwarded, so I'm not behind anymore.
Yeah, Jocelyn said she pays herself a salary, but she's an S corp. I was going to say, S corp, you have to pay yourself a salary. That the whole thing is completely different when you're sole proprietor LLC, then steps up to an S corp, and it's weird when it starts getting that high. So
it's a different world.
It's a different world.
Julian, are you still just pulling what you need to pay bills and reinvesting everything else?
No, actually, I've been doing pretty good this last couple of months. So basically, the first year was like see, I do this full time, so I needed to pay the house and bills and everything like that. So I was pulling the minimum amount to live on and not going out, doing whatever I needed to do to funnel a whole bunch of buying power back into it. But now I don't pull, I pay my bills and everything like that, and I have a little bit extra, whatever. I can do whatever I want, really. But I'm compiling a larger buying power. So when I see something that is thousands and thousands of dollars, it's not like, oh, that's going to break the bank now because I already have that set aside. So yeah. In the beginning, I couldn't. There was no way I could go out and buy like a $5,000 lot of things, but now it's a little bit different. So, but I did that by literally for the first year living very minimal, like very, very minimal. And this year I'm still doing the same thing. So,
well, the best way is to buy a barn in Alabama and get all your stuff for free.
Yeah, been looking for those deals.
And I'm like Harry. I get shipping supplies for free too.
And what are you still putting everything back in, Tina, or are you paying yourself, or how are you doing it?
I have been, I try to put everything back in, but I am using some of my money to pay bills. So
yeah. I pulled a minimum. Like if if I was out sick and didn't have PTO, which has happened multiple times, that's when I pulled that money from the business. But it was sitting there if I needed it, and I paid myself. But I don't know if I'm going to try and do a % or a certain dollar amount. I've got to figure all that out now that I do want to, because I need to see myself getting paid in order to replace that income for a certain length of time before I say, okay, I'm going to go part-time, which luckily with nursing, I could work all the hours I want. So if I cut down to part-time, I could still work 60 hours. They text me 3 times a day, every day, even when I'm there. I'm like, I'm already here. I can't come in twice. So the overtime is there. I could work whatever I wanted. I luckily, because of eBay, have not worked overtime in over 2 years. I have no urge to do so. I'm like, I got a text today from one of my friends. Can you work Saturday? I am not trying to work more. I'm trying to work less. So, and that wasn't the case before I really started hitting eBay, but now I'm able to do that. So yeah. Diane said she got a negative feedback on packaging. She made the mistake of having someone pack and mail for her. She refunded the client's money. What can I do? Since you refunded their money, you could ask for a feedback revision if they are happy with that refund. If you're a power seller and you refund the money, the negative is automatically removed. But if you're not a power seller, you can message that buyer and say, hey, I gave you a full refund. I made a mistake, own it. And would you please consider revising the feedback? I don't plan on doing this again.
Yes.
George?
Yes. And also, just suck it up and say, well, you know what, I'm a human and it's not always going to go perfectly, and move on.
Yeah. I have a couple of negatives. It's much easier to take when you are selling a higher volume, but unfortunately in eBay world, sometimes you cannot make everybody happy. It does not matter what you do, and you just gotta let it go and move on.
Okay, so I see a comment now that says, have you ever had to get something appraised? So
yeah, I highlighted that. That's what I said. This question's for you, George.
Well, the truth is, yes, I have had to have things appraised. I am a certified appraiser. I'm a generalist. I know a little bit about a whole lot of things. I'm a pretty good researcher. Somebody asked me once, what do you need to know to be in the antique and vintage business? And I said, well, to be really great at it, you need to know a little bit about every single thing that was ever made in the history of the world. Nobody knows everything. There are some folks online who say that, I'm the only person you should talk to for appraisal stuff but that's just not true. I have, in the appraisal organization that I'm a member of, we have to state in our appraisal if we have to get an expert in certain areas. And I have had to in certain things. I did a huge divorce appraisal where the guy had over $1 million of military equipment and vehicles Now, I'm pretty good with most of those things, but when it came to boats, I don't know enough about boats to do that part of the appraisal without help. So I hired an appraiser who specializes in boats, and I had to state in the appraisal that I hired an appraiser. So yes, I have hired an appraiser. And I think for our world that we're talking about, and for resellers and collectors and people here, there's times to get appraisals and there's times not to. An appraisal makes sense if you're selling, and also people sometimes get confused between appraisal and authentication. I get called a lot for, oh, I need an appraisal because I need to know if this is really a Diego Rivera painting. Well, that's an authenticator. That's a different thing. And a lot of times people, generally you need an appraisal if you're doing something for IRS taxes, estate planning, the insurance company wants a binder for some reason. But beyond that, for the average person buying and selling and that sort of thing, the only time I could see where you would need an appraiser is if there's something that you just cannot figure out what it is and you need more help, or if you need something because it's going to help sell the item better. You need that appraisal to be with the item so that people say, oh yeah, okay, that really is what it is, and it really does have this value. Also, because appraisal values differ. I mean, how much is it worth if the insurance company is paying for it is different from what the IRS wants for fair market value. And it's different from what an estate sale value is an orderly liquidation. You've got to sell a whole bunch of stuff in a certain period of time. You're not going to get as much money as if you put it on eBay at your price and just wait for somebody to eventually buy it. So, knowing why you need an appraisal is probably the most important thing before you go out and get one.
I emailed I think it was like Sotheby's. I had a violin that it was very, very similar. I don't know violins. I paid a couple $100 for this violin, and I saw one sell for $40,000. I don't know if Julian remembers this. I think it's when we first started talking. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm not listing this item on eBay until I know. And they were very nice. I emailed photographs. I could take, the stamping inside of the violin. And they told me that they typically didn't take things under $10,000 and it wouldn't qualify. So right there, I knew, okay, this is not that. And I listed it for $500, still making a $250 profit. And I sold it in about a month, and I was happy with that. But when I was researching, I came across the one that sold for $40,000, and that's the only appraisal I've ever gotten. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a $40,000 violin in my hands that I'm going to go sell for $500 on eBay.
Sure. Yep. That's the time to have it done.
Yeah. And I mean, that was free. It was a violin specialist. They auction them off. And it was free. I emailed them photos. They didn't give me a true appraisal, but they told me it wasn't worth over $10,000, which answered my question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's not that one.
Oh, and one thing too, museums are great for authentication. Museums do not do appraisals. Please do not call your local museum asking for an appraisal. That's not their position in life, and they won't do it. But they do sometimes have authentication days where if your question is, what is this thing and is it a real one, you can take it in. And some museums, if they have the time or a docent who's knowledgeable, you can get authentication done that way for free as well.
That's good to know. That's really good to know. Julian and Tina, have you ever got anything appraised?
No, I deal with golf clubs and fishing gear.
Hey, look.
Hey, George.
Mm-hmm.
Primetime Treasure Hunter wants to know if you have any more toilet seats for sale.
Well, I'm saving it for the next time on Thrift Battle.
That's great. Oh, Dom, when is that, like, the clash of the winners of the thrift battles? I won a thrift battle last year, so I need to know when the, winners round is. Anita wants to know, and we're probably just going to have time for a couple more questions, guys, because we are almost 2 hours in. We still have 430 people in the chat, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. So how do you keep track of inventory? I will go ahead and answer this, and I think most people that watch me know I do not keep track of inventory. So maybe somebody else does.
Nah.
No.
So I have my custom SKU and I know where all my stuff is, but I don't have like a spreadsheet inventory. And I do kind of in my mind when I buy a big lot, or if I spend like $700, $800, $1,000 at an auction, I kind of keep a running track in my head. I want to know when I hit that net zero and that profit point on those lots. But beyond that, I just put where it's at for eBay, and that is my inventory. And luckily my accountant, I think it's been like 4 or 5 years now, they changed where you don't have to do a physical inventory and you can do the money in, money out thing. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I do that same. I use a thing on my phone, money in, money out, and then through the amount I can see that I'm like logging that I buy, like I did a buy today. On that I can see exactly and remember how much that is and stuff, but it's not really like a true spreadsheet. Everything's on my phone.
Yeah, I'll do it for eBay listings or live sales. Like I'm going to do a live sale on Thursday with Patrick at Trusty Huckster and a couple of other people. And for those things, I'll keep a spreadsheet because I've got to keep it for monitoring the sale and sending and tracking. But I don't do a huge physical inventory because it would just take, I mean, I'm not sure the folks who watch this casually and are not in this part of the business understand the extreme amount of time all of this takes. You have to really love doing this. And yes, you can make money and that can be something that spurs you, but you better really enjoy this because you're going to spend a whole lot of your life doing it. And keeping spreadsheets of inventory to me is just a whole level of bookkeeping I don't want to do. And so now, because I do a lot of shows, I will put an inventory code on items. And in that inventory code, I can tell just at a glance what I paid for something. So if someone makes an offer, I know where I'm at and I don't have to try to remember it all, but that's as close as I get.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people do that on the custom SKU on eBay. I've seen people put the date and the price they paid. You could even put where you bought it if you want, because your customer doesn't see your custom SKU. So you can put whatever information you would like in there. Look, here's Jocelyn's. Look, she followed it up. I'm not going to highlight the follow-up. I know why she said this because we're friends and I know, but she put in there. Yeah, like not everybody is nice and respectful, and some people think they know everything about everything and they don't. There's no way that you can know everything about it. Mia, I'm going to give you this dolphin, and then did I just X out of another? Oh, Tina, I'm going to give this dolphin. There's a question for Tina, and then I think we are going to call it a night, guys. So let's give my dolphin. Where's my dolphin?
Super chat.
And Miss Doreen would like to know, Tina, do you grade all your vinyl?
Okay. I'm not an expert grader, but, you know, I try to get as close as I can to the specific grade. And eBay gives you a lot of choices on there, you know, for grading. And so I try to get as close as I can. And I've been, knock on wood, I've been very fortunate that everybody has been so happy with their vinyl that they got from me. So nobody has complained so far at my grading techniques.
Okay. Oh, Dolly Shop asked a question too. I'm trying to grab it. Julian has a dolphin, a mahi dolphin on his hat. That is a different kind of dolphin.
This is the
when I was pregnant with Dalton, went deep sea fishing for Julian's kind of dolphins for mahi. I need to go back to the Keys and go fishing for some.
Actually, if you ever see that, AFTCO, super good brand for offshore trolling stuff. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
There is your question, George, and then we will make everybody big and tell everybody bye. How do you keep track of your items in your booth?
Same tag system. The great thing is with the booths that most malls have pretty good at this point software to keep track of your sales and everything for you. And YouTube has been great because I usually am videoing the booth so I can see what I have in it. In the old days, you had to take pictures and then refer back to them. But I have price tags on, well, almost everything. I get calls every day from somebody saying, you didn't tag this thing that I try. And each one has my inventory code so that I can just have them tell me the inventory number. And if someone's offered, $100 on something that's $125, I can say yes or no right then. And that's really it. I just decided I had to keep it simple.
Jocelyn said Andrew got a vinyl record from the dumpster worth $200. Bashful. Yeah, got comp stuff for sure, because you never know. And that's why I like my channel and showing a lot of this stuff. This stuff I think a lot of people would just toss out. They would never think it would sell, and some of it for very, very high prices. Mia, thank you for finding me through Jocelyn. I'm happy you found me, and I do appreciate your super sticker. So we are going to go ahead and wrap up. I know Richard and Jennifer Hayes have both been dropping links to Tina's Instagram, George's channel, and Julian's channel throughout the night. I am going to let everybody say goodbye really quick, and I do appreciate you coming on, George and Tina.
Thank you
very much. I think we had a wonderful show. It has been great. So I will make Tina big first. You can, and if people are watching your Instagram and following you on Instagram, once you do decide to start YouTube, then you can put it on there, and then you can have those people come there. So here is Miss Tina.
Hi, everybody. Like I said, I'm part-time eBayer, and I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. And thank you so much, Kat, for having me on tonight. And I want to say hey to Harry, and hey to
Harry
Don.
went to bed. Harry went to bed.
He went to bed. Well, he'll watch it again.
I took Sir Andrew out of my picture.
Good night. Good night, Harry. I hopefully will start a YouTube channel sometime in the near future, but I just don't feel like I'm ready just yet because I still have a full-time job. So I work full-time, and Kat knows I work overnight. So if you ever see me watching any of your videos and comment at crazy hours of the night, that's why, because I work all night long, and I took off tonight to do this. So thank you so much for having me on, Kat. I loved it. It was so much fun. Thanks, George, and thanks, Julian. I love all your videos, and Kat, I love yours.
Yes, I am very happy you come on. For you guys that haven't watched, and I know we just dropped, we dropped because everybody knows we're ending, but I like to provide different points of view on here. Like George is like way different for me, and Julian and I are similar, but we sell really different stuff. So I like to provide different points of view and different kind of selling levels and give you guys, because I think you got to kind of find your style, and you might pull little pieces from everybody else to make your own like reselling business style. And I love having different people on. So Tina, I appreciate you coming on for sure and giving us that insight as well. And I'm going to make George big, and then I'll make Julian big, and then we'll go.
Well, thank you for having me on too. This was really great, and it was fun to talk with all of you. And I agree. There is nothing better than sharing ideas and ways of doing things. I've noticed in this business over the years, there are probably a few dozen different ways that you can approach, in my case, antiques and vintage, because that's where I specialize. But really online reselling in general, there's lots of different ways to do it. None of them are wrong. It's just a matter of style and what works for you. You can make it a thing to do on the side. You can make it your life. I mean, it can scale, and it's really great just to have the camaraderie and the connection. And so it's really been fun to be on here, and I appreciate it. And it's so nice to see a lot of familiar people and a lot of people who are not familiar to me in the chat. So I hope I'll get to see you again down the road, and thank you.
All right, Julian.
Thank you to our guests, Tina, George. You guys are awesome. Thanks to Kat. I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad she didn't think that I was gone. She was kicking me off. I was like, I got to get better to get back on the show. So I do appreciate it. Thank you for everybody being in the chat. I do appreciate it. I also have my own YouTube channel. If you want to go check it out. And I do thank everybody.
Yes, and Julian is coming up on 3,000 subscribers, guys. So if you are not subscribed to him, please definitely check him out. And we are live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.